Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I am joined with an amazing guest, Eve. Eve is a
Hello.
seas Hello, Eve. Eve is a seasoned and versatile product leader that creates and maintains a product culture that aligns with the business goals and the user needs of any company. She has successfully launched and managed products across various sectors and is currently the Chief Product Officer, head of products that provides IT product strategy, road mapping, processes, and metrics for startups and enterprises. She leads a team of product managers, designers, and analysts who deliver high quality and user-centric products in a fast and agile manner. Eve is passionate about product innovation and growth, and she always strives to improve the product quality and user experience based on analytics and feedback.
That's true. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for your time and coming on the podcast. It means a lot.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
That was a very detailed description about you.
Yeah.
And we mentioned, I mentioned a little bit about product innovation and product culture and you're being a versatile product leader. So my first question to you is when did you learn first about product innovation and user experience, and what made you choose to stay in this path of improving product quality and user experience?
It's a very good question, and I'm lucky enough to have studied these things at the university back in Russia in 2007, let's say. This was the era when nobody knew what is product management, how to do this, but the IT and internet companies in Russia started to grow, started to appear. And I was, as I already mentioned, lucky enough to study this at the university, a very progressive one. So my basics is programming with project management, and that brought me to the idea that probably I could be sort of leader. So I think that I was born for the activity like product innovation and product development because I I like bringing something to people. I enjoy using the technology, and my personal skills like leadership and ability, the desire to grow all the time, yeah, brings me to the point that I can build something for the user, I can develop it, I can grow. So to sum up, yeah, I think that I was in the right place with my skill set, and everything came to the position that I'm for the 15 years already doing product development.
Going on that note that you talked about right place at the right time, has there been any significant event, idea, or occurrence in your life that you would like to talk about, which led to you becoming the person that you are today?
It's a very good and profound question. I would like to share the events that inspired me a lot. And I think that was the moments when I met practitioners, the real entrepreneurs and business people who came on my journey, either at the university or afterwards when I was developing myself as a professional. So I remember the moment when I first met the real entrepreneur. I was 17 or something like this, already studying at the university. So I met a guy. He has built the first and the biggest at that moment e-commerce platform for books or something like this. So I think he just sold the hard copies of the books, but that was the big innovation that time. So he came to our university to have to give a lecture from the practitioner to the youngsters, what's happening in the real world. So he said, I was 17. So he said, no matter what technology are you using, marketing you're planning, and the user you are trying to face, always remember that you should earn money. I mean, think about money all the time. You can think about the users, you can think about the technology, the strategy, the whatever, but please always make money. And that sentence impressed me so much because I was naively thinking that it's all about the user. And being the product officer, I'm also putting the user in the center of this universe. But in the end of the day, it's always the question of money, especially in the commercial world. So what I'm saying is that I think the basics, the educational basics and your experience is good enough, good, very good as a basics, but you really get inspired and something big can happen in your life when you meet someone or face a very big difficulty in your life so that you need to overcome. In my case, it was always the people who inspired me and brought me lots of insights.
That's an amazing story that you shared. And at the end of it all, it's how we're able to earn return in
Uh,
what we do. And we have to keep, you know, what we do is important, but also the aspect of, earning money. And what you shared in that story is a big lesson. But
that's true.
in the space of innovation, I would consider you to be someone who has a lot of ideas. Being in
Yeah.
innovation for 15 years, there must have been a lot of ideas that you've come across, created, maybe disregarded. And when it comes to innovation, how does someone come up with innovative ideas? How do they start? And how are they able to map out what is needed in the market right now with so much competition, different reasons? How are they able to stand out from the competition?
You know, it seems like it's becoming harder and harder every month to compete for the user attention and among your competitors. If we're talking about the classical products like websites, e-commerce, or services for the user, it all starts with market research because you need to understand your domain, what the competitors are doing, what are the unique selling proposition, what services do they have and functions they provide to their users. Because this is the basics to understand what's happening in your specific domain. And then you need to correlate it to the business strategy and to the attitude, to the values that are in your company or in your startup. Let's say the owner of the company or the values of the company are very conservative, or you're working on a very big consumer segment. So you cannot be as innovative and as aggressive in your communication if to compare to small companies. So you need to take into consideration the context you're working in, the company, the strategy itself. And then the third angle you need to think about is, of course, your resources. For example, if your lack of developers or the designers are not as strong professionals as they could be, you need to take this into the consideration. Yeah, and the question is, why do you need specific innovation? Probably it's okay to have just a simple decision that can still make a difference in your user experience. But if we're talking about really creative idea that should make a big difference or influence the user behavior or probably be the outstanding competitors shift or whatever, that could be not as easy as just normal product activity. For that, I would suggest to create a work project group or something like that to establish a couple of brainstorms with the colleagues, because in the end of the day, we're not talking specifically about product people, but at the end of the day, product is the person who uses the expertise of the other people, of the other functions of the other colleagues, and brings the best out of every member of the team. So if you need a big innovative idea, I would suggest to bring people with you to think about it and then together create a great thing.
I really like how you touched upon many different key points and you gave my audience a deeper insight on where to start, how to come up with ideas. And you mentioned market research, which is important, knowing the context, knowing about your company, the strategies, resources. And in the world that we live in today, some may consider AI as a resource. And in the field of innovation and coming up with innovative ideas, and as we look further ahead in the future, do you see AI to be a valuable resource, or do you see it to be a resource that kind of diminishes people's way of coming up with innovative ideas and having those, like you said, designers and, having a good team like that?
Mhm. So the thing is that, to my mind, if we're talking about creativity, it comes along with the profound thoughts. If you can, if you can extract from AI tools really profound ideas, I'm very happy for you. You can use AI for that. But as far as I use different AI tools, they do provide a very good basics for understanding the domain, for the competitors, for some pretty complex questions. But when it comes to profound ideas, let's say ask ChatGPT to create a strategy for yourself or for your future business, e-commerce or whatever you want, or content creation. It comes with good ideas, but I cannot call them really creative and innovative because it could sound a little bit abstract and philosophic. Creativity comes along with the uniqueness and your combination of thoughts, contexts, ideas, or whatever you can bring on the table. And but the results of the AI tools is pretty generic, which is not bad for the start or for constant pace of doing something. But I am not sure that AI could do really profound creativity solutions. But in everyday work, of course, it's very good.
I like how you kind of evaluated the situation, and AI is something that, everyone knows about, everyone can talk about, but how it exactly can help different people varies depending on what they want out of the AI and how they extract. But as you mentioned, as you put things on the table and you come up with these innovative ideas, when you're working in a team, every company's measure of growth is different, and every company's objective is different and what they want to achieve. But for someone like you, Eve, what does growth look like for you? And how are you challenging yourself to not only grow in your roles, but also as a person?
If to talk about me personally, uh, my desire to grow comes from not having. So the thing is that I haven't reached my goals yet. That what makes me think about growth all the time. I don't have enough money. I don't have the apartment that I want. I don't own a car. I don't have a country house with a sea view. That what makes me grow because I know that everything is in my hands. Nobody will bring this to me, and I need to find a way how to reach the goals. I'm not talking about this constantly pushing myself like every day, every hour to do this, but I'm thinking about them and I'm trying to find a way how to reach the goals. That's the basics of my growth. If to talk about the professional domain, the thing is that in the commercial world, it's very easy to measure the growth. It depends on the revenue the company is bringing or making. If you see the positive dynamics, like to double, triple, everything is good. If you do have the benchmarks of the competitors, or whatever benchmark you can bring again on the table. It could also be a goal how to become better and gain more money. In the product sphere, it's even more convenient to work because we do have the frameworks for the product metrics that can cover particularly any product and correlate it to the revenue model of a company. So it means that a good product manager can have this metric system and can set the goals based on metrics. Isn't this beautiful? Yeah, I wish I could make something like this for my life. Also the metrics, but it's not possible everywhere.
I think it's great that you were able to evaluate both what you want in the professional sense, but in the personal sense as well. And I think one thing I really commend you for is that you are acting in service. So you help startups grow, you're part of the startup association, and you really are actively trying to help the companies reach their revenue target or the goals that they have, which I think is an amazing thing that you're doing because with startups, coming up with the innovative ideas, understanding the market research for some people may be difficult. And for you to go in and help with that, I think it's really amazing that you're doing that. So,
Thank
as
you.
someone who helps startups and believes in helping startups, you're actively, like I said, helping startups, supporting them. Why do you believe that supporting startups is so vital? And what do you bring that leads to successes to the startups?
Let me answer the question why I'm doing this and why I think it's important. Because I think that entrepreneurs are different types of people. I mean, you can work for the employer all the time and receive money from doing a specific function. But when you are an entrepreneur, you have full responsibility of what's happening within your company and your project. And you are also responsible for the results, for the other people who are working for you, for the revenue. So it's like being 100% mature. That's how I see them. And I'm trying to cultivate this ideas inside me. That's why I'm trying to help as much as I can the association, the other startups, bringing people together. For example, I can help you with the other guests for the interview or whatever you can help, or whatever I can help to you. Um, the thing what brings you to the success if you're an entrepreneur, I think the most important is how much do you want to be successful, to launch your product, to spread your ideas, to, I don't know, to change the world. And the other thing is the execution, of course. With that, you need either a strong team or a group of freelancers, or you can do anything yourself or everything. The execution also is important, and for that, it's nice to have the community, the associations, the support team, or whatever you can request from the other side to help. For example, in the Bangkok Startup Association, we do provide this possibility to request anything in professional term from the community, and the community will help you because we do have like 1,000, 100, 1,000 roughly members, and they all come from this entrepreneurial background. I'm sure that they all have very good connections and are ready to help. So what I'm saying is that I just admire entrepreneurs, and I think that they are like truly innovators because nobody pushes them except themselves, of course. And this is worth respecting.
Absolutely. I think entrepreneurs, they're true innovators, they're future changers. I'm sure a lot of my audience who are watching this are entrepreneurs and aspire to be entrepreneurs. And they all have the drive on how much they want to be successful. They want to, like you mentioned, it's all about the execution. They want to execute. And we mentioned in the games about traits and the different
Yeah.
traits that are like important and vital. What do you consider personally to be a strong trait for you that allows you to excel in your field because you're leading a team of managers, designers, analysts, and for young entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general who are watching this, what do you think is the most important trait that they develop and can do in order to lead to perfect execution and lead their team or lead themselves to be successful?
You know what? I was thinking about this skill set for entrepreneur for a very long time, and I came to the conclusion that everyone can become successful and everyone can become an entrepreneur if they want it. The thing is to use your skills, like good, profound, and very strong skills, on the maximum when it's needed. And if you don't have something, you can always find a partner, a freelancer, or a team for that. But if to talk, so I believe that everyone can do this. But personally, for me, if talk about me personally, I think that my strength it comes from leadership and vision, because at the end of the day, you have a team or you have the teammates or the colleagues, and everyone needs this motivation and the light where we're going, because life is hard, work is hard. So someone should always remind you, what are we doing and why are we doing this? And I'm very good at that, even though sometimes I also lack of resources. But I know that my main responsibility is to motivate the other people and help them go rather than go by myself. So yeah, I think it's leadership and vision in my case.
I think those are two important strengths for any entrepreneur to have, or just anyone in general, having the dedication, the drive, the
Yeah,
leadership. And it's great that for you to be a leader of your team, you're also encouraging them
that's true.
because that's important. Because if you need someone else to do a work alongside you or to help you, it's important that you can help push them because sometimes when you're providing products or services, there may be some times where there could be like feedback, and this feedback might be very hurtful and it can, put someone down. So, as someone like you, we talked about your strength and how you said, vision, leadership, but you also motivate others and you would love
Yeah.
to help others. When you receive feedback from maybe someone in your team or maybe a customer, how are you able to personally respond to those feedback? And how important is it to respond to that feedback and act accordingly and execute to ensure excellent product delivery or service delivery?
So the feedback is like dialogue in the relationship, right? You need to understand what's happening on the other side, and you need to understand what the other side is thinking, or what are the struggles, what they do like and what they do not like. If you want to build a connection, and very good connection, and probably the strategic one, you need to understand, and it's better to understand what's happening there. Um, in my case, um, unfortunately, I don't always receive feedback from my colleagues or the team. I'm trying to request it because, yeah, I do need to feel what's happening on their side. I remember that I recently received the evaluation, the overall team evaluation. How do they perceive what's happening in the company? And there was the feedback about inconsistency in saying thank you for the results. And I was pretty surprised see it because I thought that I'm the supervisor that always thanks for the good results, and when something bad is happening, okay, we will discuss it, let's say later, or not now, or in very smooth form. So what I found is that, yeah, my team lacks of consistency in the feedback in terms of was it good or bad. Yeah, and so what I did, I on one-on-one sessions, I tried to clarify it personally who has this specific issue with not receiving consistent feedback. And now we're working on that. I know that the team wants consistency in these feedbacks, and yeah, I'm taking this into consideration, even though it's sometimes it's hard for me to change the way I do specific things, but I know where I should put my attention, and I'm trying to change because I want this long-term relationship and good connection.
That's amazing, Eve. And it's great that you were able to understand the situation, know what's going on, what needs to be addressed. You acted on it, you executed, and I think that goes to show your vision, your leadership, the strength that you have is displayed by what you said just now.
Thank
And
you.
it's great moving forward. It can be helpful to your team, and I wish all the best to your team. So it's great that you are able to address the issues that you had and you're able to act on it. It shows your vision, your leadership right there that there might be certain issues that needs to be resolved and you take that into account. You're ready to execute and going forward, I wish the best for your team.
Thank you.
So speaking of some of the hurdles, what are some of the hurdles you faced when you provided metrics, maybe road mapping for startups, and what has that taught you over your journey on the best way to guide startups?
So answering this question, I will return back to the advice that I heard at the university, the story that I shared at the beginning of the interview, when I saw a guy, the founder of the first e-commerce bookshop e-commerce in Russia. So he said, make money first. I mean, think about the money. And it's related to particularly any type of product in the commercial or in any sphere, any level of growthness. I mean, both the startups and the grown products, the enterprise products, any level. This is the first thing you should think about. Where do the money comes from? Is it a subscription model, transactional business model, or the ad model, free, paid, premium, or whatever? Because all the rest you can think about either later or in parallel. And that idea is the core in the roadmap creation. How can you provide the service for which people will pay? So probably it sounds like an easy answer thinking about the money all the time, but if you go deeper, there's so many things you need to take into consideration. For example, in the e-commerce service, where do the products come from? What is the logistics? How do you communicate with the users? So the monetization is not that easy that it could sound. There's so many details that you need to take into consideration. And the art of product manager is to know all the context, know all the market disposition and all the competitors are doing, understanding the company insights, and trying to build the consequences of the tasks and the actions that you need to take. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's also a great answer, how you were able to mention about the core of road mapping, and you mentioned linking it back to what you said earlier about that experience and what you learned. So it's stuck with you for a while, this experience and what he said, and that's something that you carry on today. But
Yeah,
looking ahead in the future, when we talk about startups and we talk about being a visionary or someone who considers vision as a strong trait like you, in the context of startups, why is setting long-term goals important? And in your opinion, does this lead to a greater success for startups?
I think the success, as we already discussed, lies more in the sphere of execution. Execution of whatever you are thinking about. You could be a very good in tactics, and if you do tactics actions on a very high level, you would be successful today. If you have strong ideas, visionary ones that can be put as a long-term plan, and you can also execute them pretty good, it means that you would be successful in the long run. And if we mix them together, and this is the ideal situation, you would be successful both today and tomorrow. The only challenge is when your tactics could interfere with the long-term plans, but we're not discussing this. So what I'm saying is that if to choose between and to talk about what is the most important thing, the most important thing is still in the end of the day, the execution. But of course, having the long-term plans is important for long-term survival. If to talk about the product strategy in the long run, and in that case, it would not be only the monetization. It would be something that stands out from everyone who exists nowadays in the market. And in that case, we will literally talk about fulfillment the user needs in the long run as a big vision. But on the tactical level, we'll all the time talk about how to earn money right now.
Those are some interesting key points that you made. And going back to, like we mentioned about success, which we talked about in the podcast, execution, which we talked about a lot, fulfilling users, those are all really key points. But for someone who is watching this, who has the ideas that we mentioned, the innovative ideas, has the mindset, the vision, the resilience, and wants to execute, but doesn't know how to start and wants to have those results, maybe in the coming months, how do you suggest they execute to a point where they're able to make use of all their resources and also get the best of the effort they're putting in?
You know what? It's good that we have so many tools how to move forward nowadays, starting with some soft things like a team. You need a team, or you need a partner, or you need a community, or you need a coach, or you need a psychologist, or you need a girlfriend to help you all to do all these things. So this is one way how you can go. Or we're lucky to have so many tools that also can help you execute your project. All the AI tools, the automation, the subcontractors, the freelancers. You can start bootstrapping without any money, I mean any big money putting in your project. Or you can try to find the investor from your, I don't know, friends, family, or just a rich person who wants to have fun or whatever. So there's so many ways and so many successful stories how to do this. I think that my advice will narrow to understand the step for today. Let's say there's no tomorrow and no past. So you have only one thing you need to do to move forward. For example, in my case, I'm also having side hustles, like the small businesses I'm launching and working on, apart from my full-time job. So for me, there's so many things that I can do. I can talk to so many people and start to promote my own businesses in all the associations in the world. Hopefully, I do have the connections in many places. But the thing that I literally need to do is to do the shooting for my product right now. This is the closest step that I need to do. So what I'm suggesting is for those who want to start, there's so many options, really so many options nowadays. But you need to think that what is the nearest step you need to do to move forward and do it today. For example, in my case, I also understood today that I need to do the shooting. Tomorrow in the morning, I'm having an interview with the filmmaker, I mean the video maker guy. He will come to my place, see the product, and we will discuss the shooting itself. So what I'm saying is that if you do have the step that you need to do, the small step, or probably the big one, but it's better to have a small step. So move forward just today and try to find the ways how to do this. Talk to your friends, to the communities, to whomever you can reach. I'm absolutely sure that you can move forward, low budget or no budget, asking your friends to support or relatives or whatever. Just believe in your idea and do this.
I really like the different ways that the way that you've phrased that answer about the small steps that's important. Just thinking about what we can do today. And you mentioned that, you have a lot going on, tomorrow, video maker coming over, seeing the products, and then you're going to discuss. You mentioned that you also do side hustles, small businesses that you would like to promote, and this is the platform. And as before we get into that, I would like to ask a little bit about something that you mentioned, which is your side hustles and things you're working and doing besides your full-time job. But for you in particular, we mentioned about success and about future, but in the coming years, you have a lot going on, and I'm sure that these small businesses and side hustles, you want to make it more out there on different platforms. But without me jumping ahead, is there anything that you have in the coming years that the future looks like for you? So, what does the future look like for you and your role? Maybe helping startups? Do you aspire to create your own, or do you want to focus on these small business launches, these products that you have going on, your side hustles? Or do you want to pretty much focus on like helping others? It's a really long question.
Yeah, so many things in one question. I will try to answer. So the thing is that, by the way, it's interesting that I just today discussed this question with my psychologist. So the thing is that I'm not drawing these pictures of my future in my head. I mean, I do have some pictures in my head how would I would like to see my future, but I don't have so many details in all these things that I want to. The only thing I'm sure, okay, let's talk personally. The thing is that so right now I'm establishing my life here as a human, as a woman, as a professional. I don't know how where this way will go, but what I do know that I need to have money for certain level of comfort. I want to have my own apartment, not to rent all the time. Probably I want to have a car. I haven't decided yet because I have dogs, so I would like to go outside. I want to have a family, kids one day. Um, yeah. And also I would like to feel fulfilled. And for that, that's what I'm doing in terms of entrepreneurship, my personal entrepreneurship, because I want to this feeling of fulfillment. And what I figured out recently that fulfillment comes from either following your values, and this is where my side hustles come from. They follow my values. Or the fulfillment comes from helping the other people. And that's why I'm in the startup community, and I'm also doing some more volunteering work because I believe that the fulfillment comes from there. So I would feel happy at the end of the day when I'm doing all this. So it looks like I have a big system of goals and values that I need to manage every day. That's what I'm doing. But I have this full-time employer-based work? Because I need money. And in the end of the day, I have spent so many years in IT, and I'm doing this and I'm enjoying this too. But it doesn't bring me 100% fulfillment. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing more and more, trying to do these and these. Yeah, so basically, this is the answer.
That's a very clear answer to a long question that I kind of took into a circle. But yeah, but that's great. You have so many things going on for you. You have so many goals, and you just are doing so many things that are being fulfilling to you in a way because you love what you do, but you also love the side hustles and you love to help people, the startup association. You're making a difference, and that is special. So, like I said, I appreciate the the work that you do, helping startups, doing part of the association, your side hustles. Or you want to mention your brand? You
Now, so there's two things that I'm doing. I'm the partner of the design studio. We're using all the AI tools for creating the design. It's mostly about the graphics, and the design, the video, and the pictures for social media, for the brands. And the specialization is using AI for that, for the bloggers. We also do the UX design, but it's not that popular right now in terms of the AI tools. And and one more thing that I'm doing, I'm working on the clothing brand because I like the style and creating beauty from women. So this is 100% where my values lie in this. It would be mostly e-commerce, bringing beauty to women. I have some profound ideas that potentially could be understood only by the women, but it's all now work in progress. The website is in progress, the Instagram content is in progress. So it's when you do something by yourself, I mean purely by yourself and hiring freelancers for everything, it's crazy.
Is there a social media account that you would like to shout out to the audience who are watching? Maybe they can
Yeah,
follow
of course. Yeah, it would be nice. Of course, we need followers, especially the women. Yeah,
in the video.
so it's in Instagram. The name is Estrogen Lab. It's like the female hormone.
Thank you so much, Eve. And before we wrap up the podcast, with the interview section of the podcast, I ask all my guests, or at least that I can remember, uh, a question, which is if you could voice one unique message to the world, what would it be?
To the world or to the startups?
To the world.
To the world. Mm. Follow your values.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for your time, your insight,
Thank
and
you. It's my pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and talking about what you do and everything going on. I'm sure my audience definitely gained a lot of insight and
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so that the insights can save someone's time or create the inspiration, bring some energy to move forward. It's possible. Everything is possible.
absolutely. Thank you so much once again for your time. And to my audience who is new to the channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or you would like to ask anything, make sure to leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know as well. and I'll see you all for the next episode. Goodbye.